Welcome back to the DDSN Golf Betting Show. We're here for episode number 8. It's time for golf's 5th major, the Players Championship at TPC Sawgrass. We've got a great tournament coming up for us. And let's go over just a little bit of last weekend. Yes, we did have some matchup issues due to the players not being able to finish the 3rd round. So we didn't really have matchups for the 4th round. And then for the 3rd round, I posted a short, but it didn't have any volume. So we just threw those out the window. I believe we finished 1 and 2. But yeah, that was a nightmare. Nobody could really tell what we did. But again, our record, we did have a losing tournament. Thanks to Colin Morikawa's eagle that bumped Russell Henley off of the top 5 finish, which we had. Also, Jordan Spieth, he was inside the top 10, but then he dropped off, I believe, one of the last couple holes. Cameron Young went crazy, and there was another golfer that slid in the top 10 that threw everything off for us. But we're still up on the season, 48 units. Let's get into this Players Championship. We need to snap our 3 tournament losing streak. Last weekend was the first, I want to say that was our first loss that was over 1 unit. The past 2 tournaments have been at 1 unit or less. So I feel like we can turn it around, and that's exactly what we're going to do for this huge tournament. Let's lock in. It's time. All right, for our outrights, yes, research is going back to the well once again. Chris Gotterup, 48-1. You can find that over at DK. That number has moved, I believe, around 35-1, 38-1 at Bet Online. So jump on him quickly if you like Chris Gotterup. Gotterup was in great shape. So was Russell Henley heading into the weekend. Last weekend we had it outright on each of them, except Russell Henley couldn't really get it going until Sunday. But Gotterup had a complete choke on Sunday. Was sad to see. Hopefully he bounces back here. And at this number, we might as well try it again. Hopefully Gotterup can come through for us once again, because we're due for an outright. We need an outright. You know, our matchups have been looking great. Our tournament wagers have been pretty bad so far, but we're due for an outright. Hopefully this weekend. All right, Haas has Jordan Spieth at 100-1. You can find that over at Bet Online. A similar 3-digit number, I believe, at DraftKings as well. He's hoping that Jordan Spieth, who has not played well here, could finally bounce back and come through. He did notate something like Rory McIlroy at the Masters. Is it Jordan Spieth's turn to win another major? You know, I hope so. And somebody else, my outright pick this weekend, none other than Ricky Fowler. Buyer beware. He's been great this year. I believe multiple top 10s, top 20s. He's been doing actually pretty well so far this season. He's won at this course before, 2015. He's had, I believe, was he top 10? Yeah, I believe he finished top 9 last weekend. I think everything's shaping up for a Ricky Fowler weekend. I say buyer beware because he has done me wrong so many times in the past, but he's come through this season, I will say. So I do like Ricky Fowler. You can find that 55-1 over at Bet Online. I believe he's around 45, 49-1 at DraftKings, but best numbers offshore at Bet Online. All right, for our tournament wagers, we are due to break through and crawl out of this little hole we're digging. Week by week, it continues to get larger, and we keep losing by the slimmest margins. So if you skip these, I do not blame you, and wait for our matchups. We've been red hot on our matchups, but here are our tournament. These numbers are at DraftKings. They include ties, okay? Research has Ludwig Oberg, top 10 finish, plus 255. And Daniel Berger, yes, he was a choker last weekend, never shows up for us. So, I'm not expecting a lot from Daniel Berger. But research is Daniel Berger, top 10, plus 355. Shane Lowry, I declared a motion to ban Shane Lowry, to put Shane Lowry on the ban list. It's time. He is an utter, complete choker, a no-shower. Research denied my motion. We needed a unanimous vote. He said, we'll give him one more week. If he can't finish in the top 20, we're putting Shane Lowry on the ban list, the do not bet list. I think it's time, but hopefully he proves us wrong this weekend and proves research right. Shane Lowry, top 10, plus 205. He's also going with the Canadian Corey Connors. Showed a little life for the first time this season last weekend. You can find that. Corey Connors top 20 plus 265. And Haas, he's going back to the well. We got so close last weekend with the Jacob Bridgman top 10. He's got it at plus 260 this weekend. I like it. Bridgman setting up for a nice bounce back. He started slow last week, but at the weekend, he really turned it on. I think he'll do a lot better this week. Jacob Bridgman, top 10, plus 570. No, plus 460. Haas also has Justin Rose, top 10 finish, plus 570. And Ricky Castillo, top 20 finish, plus 305. Castillo's been kind of sneaky this season. He's been sneaking into some top 20s. Hopefully he does it again this weekend. Would love to see that. And for myself, yes, Ricky Fowler, top 10, plus 350. Of course, we wish these numbers were a little bit juicier, but, you know, Fowler's been playing well this season, so it's kind of expected. Also, Sahith Theegala, the Punjabi Devil, came through for me last weekend. Top 10, plus 560. I like Theegala top 10 here, and it's a great number at plus 560. Also, Kurt Kitayama, another player that came through for me, snuck in top 20 last week, and I hope he does it again this week. He's played well here. I like Kurt Kitayama, top 20, plus 200. Last but not least, Minwoo Lee, top 10, plus 340. He finished in the top 10 last weekend. I think he can do it again. He's played well here. I like this number as well, plus 340 for a top 10 finish. Give me Minwoo Lee. All right, now time for our round one wagers. We're up 16.52 units on the season. Absolutely destroying our matchups. Let's hope that continues. Research and Haas, these plays will be on Bet Online. My three will be from DraftKings. Let's go. All right. Research has Brooks Koepka over Ricky Castillo, plus 109. Morikawa over Scotty Scheffler, plus 125. Victor Hovland over Matt Fitzpatrick, plus 100. Haas has Marco Pinjay over Keith Mitchell, plus 125. Jordan Spieth over Ricky Fowler, plus 117. Justin Rose over Sam Burns, plus 100 even money. And for myself, I have Max Homa over Michael Thornbornsen, plus 104. And Taylor Pendrith, Canadian, over Alex Noren, plus 104. And Seb Straka over Shane Lowry. I'm going to fade him, minus 118. I like that for our first round matchups. And remember, these will be early tee times. We do have a cut, and we do have the first tee at 6:40 Central Time. Now let's get into our DraftKings. If you're new to the show, we break our DraftKings lineups in 4 different categories: our big dogs, our second tier, our mid tier, and then our bottom value tier. Four golfers in each. We usually skip Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, doing it again this weekend. And I will say, for the first time this season, last weekend I finally had a 6 out of 6 lineup. Finally had the 6 out of 6 lineup. It took a few tournaments, but I finally got it. Had a nice cash on the weekend. I cashed 2 lineups, both that went 6 out of 6. So let's try and do it again. Big dogs. All right, for our big dogs, Collin Morikawa. He carried me last weekend. I'm hoping he can do it again here. 800. Hideki Matsuyama. He's been a little sneaky, little ninja-like, little assassin-like. I think he does have a big weekend, and he's coming in under the radar, in my opinion. You can get him for 9,500. Also, Siwoo Kim. I kind of was on the edge of betting Siwoo Kim outright, except at 22-1 odds. That's kind of shitty. This is pretty shitty odds. So I decided to pass, but he'll be in my lineups this weekend. 9,300 for Siwoo Kim. Also, to round out our big dogs, why not the biggest dog of them all? Chris Gotterup, 9,200. I like it. All right, and for our second tier, Victor Hovland. He's kind of turning it around. He doesn't have the floaties anymore. He's kind of figuring out his golf swing again. It took him a while, but I'm expecting big things this weekend. He showed up, I believe, his 16th place finish last weekend. Victor Hovland might be back. 9,100, not too bad. Also, Russell Henley had a great weekend last weekend. He also plays well here. So Russell Henley at 9,000, love it. Ludwig Oberg, I'm not the biggest fan this season, but research is. And at 8,700, Oberg's worth a shot here. He's missed the cut, but he's also played well here with the top 10 finish. So I do not blame anybody for throwing Oberg in a lineup. I think I will. Potentially my rage lineup. Also, to round out our second tier, Jacob Bridgman, 7,900. Just a great number, great value, and Bridgman has been cashing for us. We love him. He carried me and rounded out my 6 out of 6 last weekend. Let's do it again. All right, for the mid tier, buyer beware once again. Jordan Spieth. Haas loves him. Has he played well here? Not so much. So if you want to take a shot, maybe a little contrarian, Jordan Spieth, 7,700. I like Sepp Straka, 7,600. Maybe I think he's finding his irons again. Had a slow start to the season, but last weekend kind of turned it on, except for Sunday. And I think he could do it again this weekend. 600, Sepp Straka. Woo Lee, 7,800. I like it. Or 7,500. I can't read my handwriting. It's one of those two. Minwoo Lee, again, we talked about it. I'm expecting a big weekend out of him. Top 10 finish. I could see it. Even a win. I could see with Minwoo Lee. I'm throwing him in my lineup. Same with Kurt Kitayama. Kitayama at 7,500. Like I said, he's a sneaky pick for your 5th or 6th golfer. I think he can make the cut here. I have him for a top 20 finish. I like Kitayama this weekend. All right, now for our bottom value players to round out y'all's lineups. Who else? None other than Ricky Fowler at 7,400. Max Homa, 7,300. Aaron Rai. Aaron Rai has kind of played well here. Top 20 finish, top 30 finish. I think he could do it. And he's a pretty cheap number at 7,200. Also, Daniel Berger. I can't always trust him. Research is trusting him once again. I don't hate it, but again, he's a perfect player to throw into a rage lineup. I think that's probably what I'll do. Also, the Punjabi Devil, Sahithi Gala at 7,000. He came up clutch for me as my 6th golfer last weekend to round out my lineup, and I'm going to do it again this weekend. Theegala has made his way from the rage lineups into the major lineups. I love it. The Punjabi Devil, top 10 finish. I could see it coming. And Bizu, Christian Bezuidenhout. He's played well here. You're going to get a really cheap price on him. I really love Bizu to round out a more expensive lineup. He hasn't done well. He's done okay, but not great this season. But he's played well here. Take a chance. Also, Killer Keith Mitchell, another guy that just makes cuts. And if he's going to be your 6th golfer, throw him in there. He makes cuts. He makes cuts. He makes cuts. And there's one more golfer I believe I'm forgetting. And for whatever reason, I didn't write it down. But that's everything for today's show. Good luck, everyone. Remember, fade, follow. Thanks for liking. Thanks for watching, subscribing. And again, we'll be posting our matchups the night before. Usually once everything's out. Usually at like 9 Central Time p.m. So be on the lookout for that. But once again, let's keep things green. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. All right, later.